Alright, so one of the easiest ways to get points onto ArcGIS Online is having an Excel sheet with all of your data, whether it be an address or latitude, longitude information, because ArcGIS Online can take this information and convert it to points. So let's use this as an example. I went ahead and I got all the point files, or all the addresses, should I say, for all the coffee shops in Fredericksburg. And I want to make a point file of this. I want to look at how the coffee shops are laid out in Fredericksburg. Are they in a specific area? Are they densely squared off? Is there a coffee district, if you will? So how you do this is you go into ArcGIS Online on the browser and you click Add Item, and you can go from computer. You're going to browse for your item. I put everything for this project in one folder just so it's easier for me to find, but you can do whatever you want. And you click one of your Excel sheets. I made an example for address and coordinates, but you could do either or. So let's do address. And you want to make sure you add tags. It will not let you upload this unless you add tags. So usually I just add something like my organization name. Well, not like that. That's misspelled. Yeah. And it will automatically kind of understand, based off of the field names, what it can use. It will either locate the features by coordinates or addresses, or if you really wanted to, you could just upload it as a table. So you're going to want to go in here, and as you notice, the street number, since I didn't list it as address on my Excel sheet, it's not listed there. But you can just go down to this drop-down menu and choose which one it is. So I'm just going to click address or place, and there's city, state, and the ranking is like a general thing. I decided to determine if it has like a 5-star, 4-star, etc. review on Google, and I just listed it there, so if we wanted to analyze that, we could, or if we wanted to alter the symbology based off of that, we could. And you're going to click Add Item. You don't need to have the zip code or other information there. Really, the address and the city and the state will do. And so it's going to review the locations, and it's going to try to figure out, have we found it? And it did. It had 14 of 14 locations matched. Sometimes it will tell you we couldn't match this location. And it will take you to this next screen, which will show you where the locations are so you can make sure it actually looks good. And then it will let you review and alter wherever things are placed. Now, to me, this looks fine. Like, this is what I expect. I don't see anything outside of Fredericksburg off into the other world. So I'm just going to say done reviewing. And there you go. It's uploaded. And that's all of our sites for our coffee shops. And let's go back, and we're going to upload latitude and longitude and then compare it. So for my latitude and longitude sheet, I only did about 5 sites because I didn't want to have to, I'm going to be honest, find the coordinates for all of that information. It was easier for me just to write down the addresses. But obviously with like an archaeology site, you're most likely to have coordinate information over address, because most of the time they're just off in the woods somewhere, and you don't you don't have like the address for that. That's just like somewhere random. But the address is the easiest one for me to record for this. And so as you can see, it figured out it was coordinates, and it already stated, okay, latitude, longitude, that's what it is. And you can add the item. Oh, you have to make sure you add the tags first. See, it does warn you before you can do anything. And so you add the item. Let's open it. Yeah. This is the address one. This isn't the one we want. What the heck? There you go. Alright, so you can see the points for there. And so that's the latitude and longitude. Now on the flip side, say you wanted to record directly in ArcGIS Online the location of your information. Like you just wanted to create a file yourself. You can go into Create, Feature Layer, and you can create Build Layer. You can pick which one it is. I'm going to do Points, Create, and you can click Capture GPS Receiver Information. If you're maybe out in the field and you have the app on your phone and you want to record the location of this stuff on your phone or your iPad or whatever, I'm going to tell you the phone may not be as accurate as a device that is actually made to collect this information. But it will get the job done, especially if you're out in the open. If there's no covering, it will usually be able to collect fairly accurate data. So you can click Capture GPS Receiver Information if you're using your phone or something to record. And we'll have a tutorial later on that kind of goes into that methodology a little bit more, because that's what you typically use if you're out in the field collecting data. But for now, let's just leave it unchecked, and we're going to go into Next. And so you want to define where it's located, and it'll help it a little bit better. And so I'm just going to vaguely say this area, because that's Fredericksburg. And you click Next, and you're going to name it something. I'm just going to call it Coffee Points Online. Alright, and you can add tags. So it created it, and you want to go into data, and this will show you what fields you have. And so we only have the object ID, which is like the ID number it automatically creates. It's like a unique value. You're not going to delete that, and obviously they have a lock to prevent you from deleting it. It has no value outside of just being a code that it gives each item. And it has also a photo and file field because it's data collection. So it's meant to be done in the field. Say you wanted to take a picture of your STP that you dug there, you could just take a picture and upload it. Alright, and so this is all the fields they have. They have the object ID, the global ID, the creation date, the creator, edit date, editor, etc. But say we wanted more information, like maybe we wanted to create a field for like the color of the building or something for our coffee shops. I don't know what you would want for other stuff. Like maybe you wanted to have a field that lists the coordinates out if you have like STPs, and you put it on a datum and you wanted to say like 1000, 1000. And you get to choose which data type you wanted to use. They do have the creation date, so it does record when you create it, so you don't really need the date unless you wanted it for something else. So we're going to add it. And so like building color is now added. And we can, from this, create a drop-down list for your building color that forces the user to choose what color building it is. And we'll go into this like later. Because this feature is mostly meant for actual data collection out in the field. But it just gives it an ability to get that information out there. And so we can go into Open Map Viewer. And we have our, you don't want that on yet. And we have our map, and we can add the points here. So you go to Edit, and then you can click your feature. And just place it like where you saw like the coffee shop. If you know there's a coffee shop right here, you can do that. And you can add the attachments and stuff. And you can also, as you can see, that field for building color is right there. Alternatively, if you had it like as something you can fill out, if you didn't decide to define the fields like that, you could just type in whatever you wanted. And so you can just place wherever you find this information or wherever you know. Like you know it's on this corner, you know it's right here. And it will create a feature file just like that Excel sheets they were created. And you want to click Save. And it will save it as a map. Now say you have all the point information on ArcGIS Pro, like you created it within ArcGIS Pro, and you want to take this information and upload it to ArcGIS Online so you can use it maybe for a web mapping application or you can share it with others. Well, you are able to do that. So you can just go to Share, click Web Layer, and you can publish it as a web layer. You can also publish it as a web map if you had multiple elements of this done, like maybe you had another file for different points for gas stations or something, or if this is an archaeology map, you could have one file for the STPs, one file for your test units, one file for maybe where you placed your nails, etc. And you could all upload it as a batch in the web map. But this is a single layer that we want, so we're just going to go into the web layer, upload. And so you get to name it. We're going to just name it Coffee Points Pro. And you have to put in the summary and the tags and stuff. So we're just going to say Coffee Points Example. Archaeology. And you get to define the location it goes to. And we're going to just say, where is it? Our example folder. Yeah. You get to define who you want to share it with, and we'll go over that when we go into more detail on how you can manipulate these point files. And you want to analyze it. So the Pro file finished uploading to ArcGIS Online. And we'll see what it looks like when it opens. There you go. So it has it all listed here. And say you had stuff in the attribute table, it will all have transferred over as well. I just placed the points down. I didn't add any extra information. That's how you upload it to that. Now, say you wanted information that might be actually available, like someone else had done it before, like a census data and other information like that. You could find information that you don't have to create on your own on ArcGIS Online. So you can type in that search bar what you're looking for. I'm going to look for census data because maybe I want to look at how that all works out. I don't know if they have really old census data. I normally only use like the 2020 or 2010 census data. And you want to search outside of your organization for that sort of information, and you can see who created it, like the federal user, this person. You can look for a specific type, layers, maps, scenes, tools. So we're going to look for a layer. You can find whatever you want. This is like US Census blocks. So we're just going to use a random one. Now, these do sometimes take credits, and you have like a limited number of credits on your account, and you have to continuously add new credits when you run out. It's like fake money, essentially. And usually if there's something that I want to use, I will add to favorites, and then I go into my content and choose which one I want to use. I'm going to use my address feature points. I'm going to create a map out of that for our examples on how to do other things with this data. And you can add, so you can search for layers, you can add from files, browse living atlas layers, which is usually where people upload that information and extra data. So I'm going to go to my favorites for adding. And I'm going to add, I don't know if there will be anything in that one. So I'm going to add the population density one that Esri created. And it should appear because it is a city. And it does appear. This is what it shows on here. And you have it added to your map. And you can save this as a map and use it for whatever you want. Alright, so you had all that information on ArcGIS Online, and you know how to upload it to there now. But do you know how to take that information and bring it back to Pro? Well, Pro, as usual, all your local files are stored here. You have like maybe your folder or your geodatabase with all your points in it. But you can go into this portal folder and you're able to get to your data that you have on ArcGIS Online. And you can click wherever it is located. Mine's in the example test from earlier. I'm going to bring one of these layers in. Now this layer is still connected to the web. It's not able to be moved over onto Pro fully yet. But you can hit this drop down, and if you wanted these specific points, you could. So you can right click your points, go to Data, Export Features. Alright, so you have your input features, which is the sheet 1. And you have an output name, so we're just going to say Coffee Online to Pro. So click OK, and it's doing a feature class to feature class. So now it's going to be stored locally, and this one won't update on Pro. The file that you're storing here with this new feature class, it's not going to update on Pro like the layer one over there would, because it's not a web layer. I believe it's stored in the geodatabase. I didn't actually pick where it was. Yeah, it's now stored in the geodatabase. So you can remove this if you wanted to. And now this is on a local file. It's not going to be uploaded. It's locally here. You can still do any of your symbology stuff. You can look at the attribute table and edit it like you would a normal point file. And so that's really great if you collected maybe the location of your nails out in the field, and you can just put it onto Pro and use it as the start of your grid. But that's how you do it. And you can always, as stated earlier, if you wanted to upload this to online, go to upload into web layer. But that is all, I guess.